It is the first day of March of 2025. We have a spring day here in Chico. We'll have a little bit more rain and then it will become about 110 degrees for about the next 5 months. There will probably be a major fire this year. We're overdue for another fire here in Northern California. Meanwhile, the world is going to hell and you're being brainwashed every day, particularly out here on YouTube where you listen to these psychotic scientists who are leaving out so much information that it's literally criminal now. And there's no longer any realistic debate going on in science. Science is a monopoly. It is completely controlled by the government, who enforces its standards through the inbred mathematical caste. Really slaves. You can't use the N word, but I'm using it. The N word. That's what your mathematicians are. Absolute sick liars. So I'm here to try to correct the situation. That is no longer possible. And according to the analytics that YouTube Studio provides, if you haven't already turned this off within the next 3 minutes, you will, because apparently you will be bored to tears. And I have over 870 videos that I've produced in 3 years with no return, no result. I'm not after money, so it's hard to figure out, I suppose, what it is I'm after. Well, you'll never figure it out. I do what I do because that's what I do, and you can't explain it. I've always been like this throughout my life. I'm considered to be weird. I'm considered to be way too intelligent, certainly for my own good. And so I've pursued that course since it's the identity that's been assigned to me by my environment. I fully accept that. But the way I interpret things is absolutely unique. Lately, I've been forced into a rather elliptical emotional mode, which is unwelcome in science in every case. And so I need to correct that, and I'm doing so on this first day of March, the first day of the hot season, which will kill many of us this summer. This is a horrific place to live, but if you check around the rest of the world, everywhere else is worse. So I'm really blessed, and I always count my blessings another sign of weirdness, because most people are ungrateful. They just don't have any sense of reality whatsoever, because there is no more religious recourse. That's been expunged by the caste of N-word scientists. They don't allow religion, and they're enforcing that on you, and you have no way to resist. So you're being brainwashed, and you'll continue to be brainwashed. One of the leaders in the new scientific atheist movement is a maniac named Elon Musk, absolutely stark raving mad. But he gets paid so well. He is literally a billionaire because he works directly for the most rapacious government that's ever existed on the face of the earth, and that's saying a lot. And the only reason we can impugn so absolutely the current government is because it's the last government that the earth will ever have. You know, it's considered to be focused in the United States, either in Washington, D.C., or in New York, somewhere like that. But you literally have no idea. You know, this country is completely under foreign domination now. That was inevitable. That's the nature of a democracy, is whatever is the lowest scum will close in, engineer their long-term strategy, which is always operative, and eventually take over. In a democracy such as exists in the United States, the weak link is the lobbying parties. And the Zionists dominate that because they've stolen so much money over the decades and centuries. They raped Russia. And the Zionists had only one purpose in taking over Russia. It was to get the gold out of their teeth And you can read about that in a book which you won't read because you're retarded, and you can smell when some righteous man is guiding you in the right direction and you bury your fangs. You bury your fangs at me, you're going to lose your fangs. So you're not going to touch me. Because I'm the last person standing who's willing to tell the absolute truth. Now, this channel started out with guided tours of the universe. And the secondary theme that I was attempting to elevate to a prominent position was the discovery of a new geometry. So that's what I'm all about. I've gotten no feedback. The most successful of my 870 videos over the past 32 months was something on subatomic physics, where I was quoting from Wikipedia. And what happened was, either a professor or someone with a following watched my video on the subatomic structure that I discovered, and obviously made a comment either in a forum or on his or her channel. And my video was promoted in that way. That's how things are done on YouTube. It's really by, you could say, electronic word of mouth. Most of my videos get 1 or 2 or 3 views, 4 or 5 or 6 views. This is nothing. It means failure. I don't care because I do this for myself. If I had no views, I would still be doing this, but of course there is a directed end of promoting the geometry that I discovered. So when I started out by giving tours of the universe, that was a legacy of my past because I'm an astronomer. And I'm an extraordinary class of astronomer. I'm a galactic astronomer. I'm carrying on the work, basically, of Fritz Zwicky and Halton Christian Arp, a name you're not allowed to know about, because he stood up against the Big Bang and so was killed, essentially. And so was Zwicky. Zwicky. He's Swiss. And he's not Swiss in the way that Albert Einstein was Swiss. Zwicky actually was Swiss. So the Zionists, you don't know which ones are Zionists. In America, it was mostly the women. And this really is how Judaism has worked over the centuries to preserve its lying, cheating, jackass system that they consider to be some kind of religion for some reason. Real retards. Real bastards. Now, the Jews are innocent. And anybody who thinks that they're anti-Semitic, or for instance thinks that the Nazis were anti-Semitic, or that anybody is anti-Semitic, even if they say they're anti-Semitic, no, they're not. There's no such thing as anti-Semitism, with one exception. The Zionists are anti-Semitic. They call themselves self-hating Jews. The only anti-Semites are Jews, which is quite a remarkable statement. They're an extraordinarily peculiar people. And anybody who knows anything about the history of the Jews knows that something really, really nasty is going on with Zionism, and always has been. God absolutely detests it. And that's why he destroyed the nation of Israel, which by the time he destroyed it, was not even Israel anymore. It was Judah. And Judah was required in order to produce the healer of the earth. And even if you hate religion, you say you hate God, you're another goddamn fucking liar. No, you don't hate God. And no, you don't hate religion. No matter what you've been brainwashed to feel, you're not being brainwashed to think. You're being brainwashed to hate, especially yourself, because you're a monkey. Remember, you were taught that in school, that you're a monkey. And Darwin is blamed for that Darwin taught us all that we're monkeys. Yeah, How much do you even know about that subject? If you believe in natural selection, it's because you know nothing about it. Ha! You know nothing about it. Now, if you believe the geologists who have been trained to support the natural selectionists, of course. So everything in the paleontological record proves that Darwin was right. There are two lies embedded in there. First of all, Darwin didn't discover anything. And if you don't know that, it's because you've been brainwashed and you're retarded. So if you have no excuse now because I'm here. So you can go back and watch my videos. You won't. You're not allowed to. You've been taught to avoid the truth. And anyone who even sounds like me is right out. You're being controlled. I'm not. Although I am being controlled by a much more powerful force. You can say anything against me you want. You can say anything against the Son of Man. Yeshua said this, so I'm just quoting my master. You can say anything you want against the Son of Man, and it can be forgiven. But if you say anything against my master, I will not need to lift a finger against you. You'll be slitting your own throat. So you have been warned. This is a religious war. There's no science left. And if you think you know something about science, I will prove you wrong. You know nothing about science. You know nothing about the universe, about consciousness, or about reality. You know nothing about light. And you never will. And you don't know anything about time. You have no idea if it's real or not. You don't know what space is. You cannot define it. You don't know where to begin. You can't even tie your own shoelaces right. Because you're under the full domination of a much more powerful mind. You have no proper mind left. I do. That's the difference. So I am compelled in my twilight years to pursue the way of heaven. That's why I became a galactic astronomer. That's why I gave tours of the universe. That's why I wrote 2 books on astrophysics, both of which were burned up in the campfire. Remarkable irony of heaven. Oh, I'm in on this too. I'm a victim. But you know the secret of getting out of being victimized is to change the word. No, you're not a victim if you don't want to be. You're a survivor. And that's a huge difference. You'll never change. You'll never be a survivor. I'm predicting that. Anyone listening to me, I don't know why you're doing it. You don't listen. There's no response. I know you now. The video that got so many views, about twice as many as my second most popular video, out of 870 videos. It was on the order of a year ago that I produced a video on subatomic physics that got 1,712 views in 3 days and then stopped. So I got more views than I ever got for any other video, and then it just stopped. I had some comments, and I think one of the men who made the series of comments, which of course I answered, because they were questions, he may have been the one who promoted me. I'm not after money, so it really doesn't mean anything to me that way. I'm not like anyone else out on YouTube, although there are some people who are not after money. Most of them just do shit-ass music, just pointless recreation using this medium for the other human purpose, which is entertainment, so that you won't go nuts. And that's also the reason for sexual deviancy. It's to give humans some option to recover their identity. That is no longer possible. Unless you listen to me. Well, that's why you don't listen to me. It's because I can get you out. Well, there is a strong, strong force that does not want you to go free. You're not allowed to be intelligent. Use your rational logic system to get onto the way of heaven, which is the whole name of this game. Well, you're not allowed to. If you try to learn about the universe, you run into the cosmologists, who are funded by the government. If you try to discover your human origins, or as I recommend, the origin of the ecology, you'll never find that out either. Nobody really knows about the discoveries made in my lifetime that overturned the entire system of lies of science, beginning with natural selection. That has been disproved. You'll never credit that. You know it's true because you've been told that it's true, and you have no way of defending yourself against that magnificent satanic lie. There is no such thing as natural selection. And I can say that until I'm blue in the face, and it's not going to penetrate your stupidity. You are permanently crippled. Now, it's not absolutely permanent, but I think you see what I'm driving at. Unless you listen to me, you're not getting out. You're not going to go free. You will die in ignorance, whatever that means. You're not allowed the recourse of religion. That's right out. The Zionists have determined what is the final religion of Earth. It's communism, of course. But it's a specific form of communism that makes Nazi fascism seem like a pinafore dance. The Jews were very lucky because they were able to get out of Nazi Germany, many of them. Einstein did. Many of the Jews, Jewish scientists, physicists, they're very intelligent people, of course. My best friend is a Jew and my master is a Jew. So if you accuse me of racism, I'll punch you right in your fucking nose. Don't you ever accuse me of anything. But I'm here to basically give you choices, and so I cannot avoid impugning the ones who are killing you. You have to know who they are, or you can't fight them. But you must fight them if you want to survive in any way. Because they're almost done taking over the world. It's just a matter of months or just a couple of years. Or it could be decades, it could be centuries, it doesn't matter. Because the end will be a Zionist earth. Just as it said in Matrix 2. That what are the good guys trying to defend? What are John Glenn and John Wayne trying to defend? What's the whole purpose of America? To put Israel back on the map so the Zionists can destroy Islam. They're after Islam. And Islam has an incredibly foul name in America. It's a form of racism, of course. The sand N-word people. That was developed in the Gulf War, one of the most insane wars. The United States just fights insane wars. Well, once you know who's behind it, it's the Zionist lobbyists who own the banks. They own all the money. And if you own the money, the communists, according to Marx and Engels, both of whom were Zionists, by the way, once you gain control of the economy, you win. It's just a matter of time. And murder. There will be a few murders, of course. There's always murders associated with any government. And this is a Zionist-controlled nation. Trump, I think, I don't know how to express this to you if you think that Trump is a human being at all. He's nobody. He doesn't do anything. No American president is capable of doing anything ever since Kennedy was shot in the head from 2 guns. He was assassinated by the Zionists. And you can look into that. You'll never find out what I know, and I can't tell you because I could get into trouble. I'm not going to hang myself by the neck just to give you information that you'll shove back in my face, if not up my ass. So I'll give you some broad stroke things to think about, but there's really no hope for you. And I am not going to risk my neck for you. What I am doing is still legal. It shouldn't get me killed, although you never know. But I'm 70 years old, and so far I have zero attention. Nobody gives a shit about what I say. Well, you're in trouble then. That's just the flip side of the coin. Anybody producing anything that could possibly lead you back to rationality anywhere on the internet? No. Veritasium doesn't do it. Lex Friedman doesn't do it. Joe Rogan is just... You know, it's so hard in this world, isn't it? Because you don't want to make fun of anybody. You don't want to call Joe Rogan what he actually is, or Lex Friedman what he actually is. Well, you can't do that with anybody. Brian Greene. I mean, these people are just beyond psychotic. Way beyond psychosis. They're part of a system into which they fit. If you have money, which they do, they get money for promoting what they promote. If you're getting money, that's the end of the story. My mother would agree. I am forced to agree. If you're making money, you're surviving. Well, that's it. That's all that's left for a fucking monkey. That's all that's left for a slave. A retard, a monkey like you. All that's left is just try to survive, which means make money, which means sell your soul. Well, Lex has. Brian has. Neil deGrasse Tyson has. Michio Kaku. Sabina Hassenfelder finally gave in. She caved in. Kurt Jai Mungal is next. I think he's already taken in the snare. And these people are just disappearing behind the screen. Alexander Unziker is completely compromised. He's lost his way. Nobody really is impressed anymore because everybody knows the score. We lost. The good guys lost. Same as Yeshua. My master lost. He had to leave. Well, I follow that man. Well, he's not here. Well, I'm following him to wherever he is. Well, I know where he is. My master, Yeshua HaMashiach, is not here. He's somewhere else. He left the earth. That's recorded in history. And if you don't trust that, well, good luck with your cookie dough. Your brain, what's left of it. You're hopeless. You're controlled. You can't think. You cannot see reality. Your consciousness is worthless to you. I'm here to help. But I failed, and I knew I would. That's not going to stop me. I'm going to redouble my effort. And in 2025, I'm going to heat up the water. Now, I've just had a windfall. I've been in absolute abject penury for well over a year, just barely scraping by from month to month. But because of the litigation that followed from the campfire, I just received a 4-digit sum. I'll just say it's less than $5,000, but anything over 100 helps me enormously. And now I have the option to capitalize on my promises to start live streaming at the height of my popularity. Pretty much at the same time as that 1,712 viewed video. It's about the same time as that. I was promising live streaming, and that got some attention. People really responded to that powerfully well. And then it fell through. I was done with a $1,000 PG&E bill that I did not know was coming because I thought I had set up automatic payments, but I'm an absolute cripple when it comes to money, and I just had not set it up. So the bills kept piling up, and I never check. I just pay my regular bill every month. Well, I thought it was being done automatically. It was not being done automatically. And then I got a done notice in the mail that we were going to turn off my power for the second time. I've been homeless twice, and I'm always on the verge of absolute tragedy. Right now I'm safe, but it wasn't always like that. The whole time I've been producing on YouTube, I've been right next to the poorhouse. Just ready to be thrown out on the street. And I have some medical conditions. My lungs are shot because of the campfire. So I do need medicine, and so I have extra expenses beyond the just paying the bills and buying the food. So things are looking up, but I do not have enough money to resume broadband, which is absolutely required for live streaming. I was able to do a successful test, and my viewers loved it. They could hardly wait for live streaming, because then you get to talk to me. That will be possible, but not with live streaming, because I cannot afford the broadband connection. I'm on the cheapest dog shit Wi-Fi connection available, $10 a month. It's not fast enough to support live streaming. Now, the documentation, which is all important, if I do take myself seriously as a discovery scientist, the publication of my paper is the beginning of the showdown to see if, first of all, it'll be read at all. It could be totally overlooked. I give that about a 99.9% possibility that whatever I publish will not be read. It'll be suppressed, actually. Actually, it's more subtle than that. It'll just be ignored. The Zionists have control of everything now, so they're not really assassinating people anymore, although that will resume. Well, they're assassinating millions of Palestinians, but that's just the beginning of a total all-out war against Iran to bring down the old religion, the one that is threatening to become the true religion, Islam. I support Islam. I am Islamic. However, I take orders from no church. And whatever the Islamic scholars say that disagrees in any way from what I know of Islam, I'll correct them too. I don't care if it's the Shah himself. I'm an Islam man. I'm part of Islam. I'm part of the ancient religion. If you make any mistakes in Islam, I'll correct you. But I won't try to destroy you. The Zionists will do that. They've already won. Iran is almost dead. Iran is almost completely strangled out. You'll never understand Islam. You'll never understand religion. You've lost contact with heaven. I'm trying to restore your contact with heaven. You have resisted me with all of your imposed strength. That will not stop me. So I'm going to redouble my efforts, and it's going to get tough. I could get struck from YouTube. I've been warned a couple of times about my language. Once this is 3 years ago. I mean, I was embarrassed. I'm mightily embarrassed. If I overstep a social bound, which I fully subscribe to the boundaries, well, if I myself overstep the bound, I'm not exempt. I'm not exempt from anything. And I do currently have a warning. It's not a strike, but if I use the JEW word sometimes, and JEW is absolutely forbidden by the Zionists. If you say JEW, you're an anti-Semite. You're just automatically. You're not allowed to refer to a JEW. That is right out. Otherwise, the system is geared to grind that person to dust. You're not allowed to refer to a JEW, but for the time being, you're allowed to refer to ZION. It's in Matrix. What are we defending here on Earth? Zion. Neo is defending Zion. Well, what is Zion doing? Well, they're in outer space now. They achieved their goal to get into outer space. And Elon Musk is basically Nosferatu. He's just a figurehead for Satan. Elon Musk has no mind of his own. He's completely controlled by the government that gives him all of his money. He launches spy satellites practically every month. This SpaceX is for Zion to spy on you, as they've been doing for well over a half a century. Now, all of this may sound like it's, conspiratorial stuff. I should have a tin hat, right? And stay away from sockets which have electricity that could affect your mind. I just heard this today. Someone refuses to sleep near a light socket because it could affect his mind. But you got a lot more to worry about affecting your mind than the light sockets, darling. So I still promote the way of heaven using rational logic. I am now returning to my original religious bent. If you don't resume contact with the designer who designed you and the ecology and everything else and set up this whole game, and if you don't know about the designer, it's nothing I can do to help you. And, that's the name of the game now. We're right at the end. It's very close to the apocalypse. Almost all the prophecies of Daniel have been fulfilled, as Yeshua warned us to be on the lookout for the fulfillment of Daniel's prophecies. Everything except the very last sentence has been fulfilled in the prophecies of Daniel. What you'll never know, again, this is just like the Chicxulub impactor and the discovery of DNA and, the real meaning of redshift. You're not allowed to know anything that science actually knows now because everything is against the Zionists. So they have to suppress the truth of heaven because heaven is going to destroy Zionism. Otherwise, there's no hope for the human race. So I hope that you're ready for 2025 with Anagalactic, because it's going to get hot and heavy real quick. And I hope you stay tuned. I can't imagine why you would, though. You don't believe me. You don't know the truth. You don't want the truth. You couldn't care less. You want to avoid anything that keeps you from your entertainment cycle, that keeps you sane. So keep listening to your music, keep watching your shit-ass movies, and by all means, keep listening to Michio Kaku and Neil deGrasse Tyson, your buddies. It's Anagalactic. Keep looking up. We'll be right back.